It's a button yet, Dan. Right. No.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the same old Arsenal. I'm your host tonight, Dan Potts, and I have with me fabulous guests, Mr. Mark Partridge. How are you, mate?
Well, I thought someone had walked in behind me. I'm all right.
You're back, mate. You're back.
I thought I was on the wrong show there for a minute.
Oh, God. We're not, please tell me we're not doing a quiz.
Nah, mate. No quizzes, man. I've had enough.
I've got a memory like a 3-month-old goldfish.
Had enough of quizzes in this lockdown, man. I tell you, we've done loads and loads of them. But I did win the last one, just to rub it in.
Yeah.
I've won one. Lee's still waiting for his first win, but there we go.
No, I've had a win.
You've done well, all of you. It's been very entertaining. So I'd like to say thank you to all of you for entertaining us peasants with your knowledge and stuff. It's been good to watch.
Absolutely. How you doing, Mark? You're good, yeah?
Yeah. We're nearly there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. 10 days, the big 10-day countdown.
It is true. It is true. 10 days and football is back. Harry Simew. Harry, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Been a busy day, but always good to sit and talk Arsenal with you guys. It's been a little while as well, I think.
Yeah, it has been a while, man. You're still working or half working. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, half working.
Yeah, long day, man. Long day. Mate, it's Mr. Lee Judges. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm all good. Thank you very much. I've had a good day at the shop today, like, you know what I mean? So it was worthwhile getting up this morning and going in. So first day when it's been quite really busy. So, bless you, Harry.
Bless you, Harry.
Bless you.
Cheers.
Bless you.
I was trying to find. I couldn't find the mute button quick enough. I thought, shit.
Bless you, mate.
So unprofessional. He doesn't do that on his other shows, I can tell you.
Oh, no. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Only for this show.
Yeah,
Boys,
so it's been a good day. It's been a prosperous day today, like, you know what I mean? So,
good stuff.
Yeah.
Boys,
Yeah.
we're back, and it's good to be back, to be fair. It is good to be back on the same old Arsenal on a Monday night. Before we move on, though, I do want to say a huge thank you to Craig. Craig has decided to step down from the same old Arsenal for now, and we just want to say a huge thanks to everything that he's done over the last couple of years on the show, everybody that he's had on. A huge thank you. Craig introduced all of us boys onto here, and I personally want to say thank you for giving me the chance onto this platform to meet people like Harry and Lee and Mark and Graham. Moving forward, so
We'd already met, Dan. To be fair, we had already met.
Well, just you, mate. Well, I haven't met these two boys, have I? I haven't met these two lovely lads. So,
Yeah, I'm glad Craig's gone, by the way, and because of that, I'm not talking to him at the moment. Like, I'm in a bit of a soap with him, like, you know what I mean? So we're not talking at the moment because I'm upset that he's left. He's left me. It's been a messy divorce.
I spoke to him today, though. He seemed well.
Yeah. He's in a good place. He's He's doing his DJing at the moment.
Yes.
And hopefully, once the Arsenal starts up again, he maybe get his interest back in, and it'd be good to have him back on. But at this moment in time, it's his decision, and we've got to respect that, haven't we, Dan? You know, so
yeah, absolutely.
We move on.
We do move on, but of course, if he ever wants to come back, the door is open for him. We do all love Craig, so a huge thank you to him. Boys, football is coming back, and I'd want to ask you how you're feeling about it. Mark, we'll start with you, man. Football's coming back, and we've got Manchester City on the 17th. We'll come into the friendly that we had a couple of days ago in a little while, but just your thoughts in general about football coming back behind closed doors. I've made my opinion quite clear, and it's not a very positive one, but I'm trying to be positive and trying to remain positive that football's coming back. So what do you reckon, Mark? Football is back behind closed doors.
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. It's nice. Coral will be pleased, won't they? They'll get their £5 a week off me for an acca again. So, it is. It's good for the economy. It's good for the soul. It's good for any person interested in elite level sports, particularly football. You know, that sense of escapism, camaraderie. It's all of those things that we've taken for granted, and I think we've all realised, how important it is in your life to have that bit of release, and in a good or bad way. Whether you go to work Monday morning ranting or raving or cheering, and it's good to have something it's good to have interests, and it's a huge part of all of our lives, So good to have it back. It's not how we would want it back, but as I say, better than nothing. It's a small step in the right direction. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad they've made the decision, and it's a positive move that they are now finally told us what is going to be happening. Lee, what do you make of it coming back without fans, mate? You're a huge fan that go to home and away games. We're obviously going to miss it, as I will, but what do we make of it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be something different, especially for the match day going fan that goes. I just want to say there's certain people on here said, "Oh, it never come back in the football." I was one that said it would do. Just to point that out, I actually said no, it will come back. No, it's got to be finished. It's done and dusted. Let's finish it. Someone said on here, like, not going to happen, but it has. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, behind closed doors, I've got to say that. But in another way, I'm quite. I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like. You know what I mean? You're going to be shouting and screaming at each other. You can hear all that, can't you? Like the interaction of, if there's a little bit of nastiness going on and things like that. So I'm quite really looking forward to that side of it all. And really, if you look at it, it's like I think we said this the other day, it's like a World Cup of the Premier League. You know what I mean? All going to be put in a month. If you're going to work, you're going to come home to a couple of games a night. Weekends it's going to be on all the time. And if you're not going to work, you've got something to look forward to in the evening. After topping up, hopefully your suntan when the weather returns. So I've got that barbecue and the Arsenal. Come on, like that's a good thing, isn't it? Like
what more can you want? What more can you want?
Half pint, 3 points. Couldn't be better, that's what I've.
Don't get Harry started on barbecues again. Jeez.
No. He's the king.
Harry's the king of the barbie. He's had enough of you, mate.
The skewer he is. King of the skewer.
Tell you what, lads. Let's listen. When the football's back, let's have one. Come round. Let's sit outside and watch a game of Arsenal.
Don't have to ask me twice. I'll be straight round yours. Have you seen
what
he's
Why
fishing
not?
up? Seen them racks he's done, them chicken tikka ones the other day. Oh.
Mate, listen, if that's an invite, I'll be there, Harry, 100%.
It is an invite.
Cool, man. Harry, let's stay with you, though, man, because Behind Closed Doors in Germany has been going on for a few weeks now. Have you been watching it, and what have you made of it?
Yeah, I've been working on a lot of it. Been doing some commentaries on the Bundesliga games, which it's taken a lot of research because it's not a league that I traditionally watch a lot of and know much about. But I've really enjoyed it. Look, just getting back into the routine of football has been great. It has been a little bit strange. At the beginning in particular, it was weird seeing games in empty stadiums. This weekend, the Bundesliga introduced through the broadcasts fake crowd noises. I don't know if any of you saw any of it.
Yeah.
And what they were doing was they had like a bed of basic crowd noises, and there was a producer who was working on the game and adding effects when the goal went in or when there was a foul or like for all the different things. I've got to say, in theory, when I heard about it, I was like, this is bloody ridiculous. Don't bother. But it actually enhanced the watching experience. I've got to say that it really did. And I think if you see the difference between with and without, I think you guys would probably agree as well. Look, it's not perfect. We didn't want football to come back with no fans, but it's made me, I guess, realize how much I love the game. And like sort of, I guess once you get past that thing of there not being fans and you start focusing solely on the game, and maybe when it's another team, you won't focus on the game as closely, but particularly when it's your own or you're working on the game and you're having to pay it your full undivided attention, after a while, you do forget about it. You do get past it. So it's not impossible for us to enjoy football in this way. It's not ideal, like I said, and I can't wait to get back to the Emirates, but football is better than no football, like Mark said. And for me, I'm just glad that we're going to have it back.
Fair one, mate. You three are more optimistic than me. But I won't go into it because I'm going to try and keep things positive. I did actually watch it, eating my dinner, the Dortmund game I was watching on Saturday, and eating my dinner, not looking at the TV. I actually thought, there's a game of football going on, with the noise, and then you look up and there's no one there. It's just a bit bizarre. But at least it is coming back. Boys, we had a friendly against Charlton and we won 6-0. Hat-trick from Eddie Nketiah, goals from Aubameyang and Lacazette and Willock. Lee, I saw the highlights. Did you see the goals, and what did you make of a 6-0 thrashing against
Charlton. I did see
Charlton.
the highlights, and I have to say, again, worrying signs first and foremost. You know, a relegation side from the Championship created about 3 cut chances, hit the post, and I thought, oh, look at them opening us up, 3 headers at the far post and things like that. So things don't change. But then we turned on the style, you know, and I thought like Lacazette's goal, my word, you know what I mean? That deserved to be in front of 100,000 fans, not alone an empty stadium. That was an absolute class finish, lovely little layoff and a fantastic finish. And I thought there was some good football in there, you know. Eddie seems to have like finding his shooting boots as well. And I think it's going to be really, for me, what was interesting was having a look at what players were playing and all that. Like, you know, obviously they put out 2 different teams. It'd be interesting to see what goes ahead. But, you know, in the end, a comfortable win and some good finishing. And so a positive result. And to be honest, that's what you want, isn't it? You know, if we'd have won 1-0, 2-0, people would turn around and be saying, oh, like, yeah, not done enough here. But 6-0 is what I think is a little bit of ruthlessness to the team. And they seemed hungry. And do you know what was most the more pleasing for me was just to see them out there again and seeing the boys in the kit, you know, and that's the thing. I think that why we haven't spoke about it, I lost a little bit of interest because, as Mark said earlier on, there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We know now when it's coming on. We're all starting to look forward to it. Where 3 or 4 weeks ago, you know, we didn't know we was going to be on. What was the point about talking about it? But now you can see that they're geared up for it, and you know, and once the Bundesliga come on, there's no way that the Premier League couldn't go follow it. They had to, you know what I mean, because financially it's a bigger package and everything like that. So I thought that they'd done well. You know, it'd be interesting. I think, you know, the starting lineup for that first game, unbelievably a real difficult one for us to start off with at City. But you know, let's hope that we do well. Just before I go, like Alex is putting a shout out. Like, I know his missus is not too well, so like, you know, I'll give him a little shout out and hope the missus, you know, tell her to keep fighting, Alex, and hope all is well with you.
Absolutely, Alex. I second that and echo everything that Lee has said as well. Mark, coming to you, 6-0. We've heard some people saying, don't get too excited. It's only Charlton, but you can only beat who's in front of you. We've scored 6 goals, and it's a sort of start that we want to get off to, isn't it? A friendly.
We don't want to lose, do you? But I mean, it's more about fitness and sharpness and stuff like that. And I know, you know, the defence we worry about anyway, don't we? But yeah, I quite like the fact Eddie's. He seems like a bit of a predator in a box, Eddie, doesn't he? Like, you know, the scramble, goalmouth scramble after the Tobias free kick. So, you know, he seems to be in the right places, doesn't he? So, which is great, isn't it? And Willock set one up and scored one. So, good positive signs, aren't they? Your 2 big guns got a goal each as well. That won't do them any harm. Coming back, you know, say what you want. Like you say, you got to beat what's in front of you. And to get goals is good. To keep a clean sheet is good. We may have got lucky, but it's a clean sheet. So nothing negative to take away from that. And you know, apart from sharpness and stuff, it was to get them used to playing in an empty stadium, wasn't it? Which it's going to be weird. You know, it's going to be weird for them. For them, you know, it's going to be weird. But yeah, so positive.
Absolutely agree with you, man. It is all about trying to keep sharp and trying to keep fit. Harry, one player I want to mention actually is Ainsley Maitland-Niles, because Ainsley Maitland-Niles looked to be out of favour with Mikel Arteta over the last few games that we saw leading before the pandemic. And now that it's got back to it, Ainsley Maitland-Niles was apparently one of our better players and was playing in the midfield. Do you think Arteta's kind of given him enough rope to either kind of hang himself with or give him another chance? And do you think he deserves that?
Before I say about that, I got to say, what the hell was that shitty camera angle they gave us to watch those highlights, by the way? There's the lockdown meaning they can't go up in the camera position. Anyway, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, for me, I don't know. I just don't know about him. I've raised questions before about his attitude, and, you know, I know that he doesn't want to play at fullback, but then you compare that with Bukayo Saka's attitude, who, again, isn't a fullback, but has come in and taken that role on and seen it as a way to establish himself in the Arsenal team and really made the most of the opportunity given to him. And then I look at Ainsley Maitland-Niles and I look at someone who looks as though he wants to throw his toys out of the pram when he doesn't play where he wants to. So I don't know. Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta is a fair man. He's been described by Pep Guardiola as very honest. I spoke to Tom Watt the other day, and he said he was as honest as the day is long. So I think that Mikel Arteta is the type of manager that will give him the chance to prove him wrong and give him the chance to prove that he's ready and capable of holding a place in the squad at least. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself about Ainsley Maitland-Niles just yet. I think he's a useful player to have in the squad because of his versatility, in the sense that he can fill in at fullback, he can play in the middle of the park, he can play out on the flank as well if you need him to. But again, I'm just not 100% convinced about him at this stage, and it's going to take more than a friendly with Charlton to convince me of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, what I've seen in terms of him at fullback, I actually think there's an argument to say that he's probably suits Arteta's style of play as a modern-day fullback more than Hector Bellerin. I didn't mind him at fullback under Mikel Arteta. I actually thought the first few games that Mikel Arteta was in control means that Maitland-Niles was one of our better players and quite fairly consistent. There was obviously an attitude problem and a falling out, it seems, and the same thing had kind of happened with Matteo Guendouzi. And I think that when you look at it, you think, how can we get on? How can Maitland-Niles get on with the likes of Guendouzi's attitude? Can he be similar to that and just knuckle down? So I think for me with Maitland-Niles, I believe that it would be nice to see what he can do for the rest of this season. And I actually would like to see him in that midfield. I've said it before that I want this kind of midfield hard-working free so that we can get rid of the number 10 role. Lee, I'll come to you on that because Mesut Ozil played in the number 10 role, and once he was subbed, that hard-working free seemed to come on and play. So what's your kind of deal with that? Are you for Mesut Ozil in number 10 or?
The best thing about Mesut Ozil on the day was his boots, wasn't it? They were unbelievable. Did you see his boots? God,
great boots.
To be honest,
the only good thing about him in a moment.
I'm not. I don't know. He was on, and as soon as he goes off, we're free flowing. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just he's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? I don't really know what to say of him, But I honestly think, come the first game of the season against Man City, he'll play. And I'm looking at Man City away. It's going to be a back to the wall sort of game, and I would think we're not going to get on the ball as much as normal. So for me, it would be not to play him. So maybe he's looking at maybe playing Maitland-Niles in that role. Maybe just having a look at that to see how that goes. For me, I think with Mesut Ozil, I think he's going to be like when we're playing like teams like Brighton, Norwich, when we're going to have to open up teams. That's when I think that he's going to become key for us. I think these games when we're playing like the teams where we're going to be, defending a little bit more. I can't see us going I wouldn't imagine us going to City, and whether there's fans there or not, and opening up, And I think that when he's in the team, that just leaves us a little bit light, a little bit short. So that's my opinion of it. We always have this debate about Mesut Ozil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. Harry, I can see wanting to jump in on it because he loves him a little bit of Mesut. Apparently he was round for a barbecue the other week, so I don't know.
well, Harry, let's get to you on this because Richard is with you. Richard says, please don't criticise Lord Mesut, good vibes. And Lee Farrell comes in and says that Arteta hasn't got the bottle to drop Mesut Ozil. Now, I don't want to get onto a Mesut Ozil debate again because it's been going on for 4 years for me at least. And I've taken enough abuse for it. But for me, Mesut Ozil does the bare minimum. And if he does that against Man City at the Etihad again, then it will just prove me right. He will be invisible. It's a big side and we won't see him. And I want to see this hard-working midfield three that Liverpool, Man City did. And was it not interesting that the minute that Mesut Ozil come off, the formation completely changed? That to me means that has been holding back what I want to see. So for me, I'm looking forward to 2021 when we can say goodbye to Mesut Ozil and then hopefully change our formation. Harry, what do you make of it? Does Mesut Ozil have to play just because he is the number 10 at the moment on the most money?
No, it's nothing to do with him being on the most money or anything like that. That's just the problem is that everyone just keeps throwing that comment out about Mesut Ozil's wages. It's got nothing to do with him being in the team, in my opinion. Unai Emery didn't give a shit about his wages. He left him on the bench plenty of times. It was a non-issue. So the thing here is, when you talking about Mikel Arteta's team, tactically, Mesut Ozil is key to what Mikel Arteta is trying to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Mesut Ozil and that he's the ideal person to play in that role going forward for years to come. But at this moment in time, you will notice, and I done a video on YouTube the other day, I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, about the tactics that Mikel Arteta has implemented. And one of the things that he's asking his number 10 to do is that he's asking his 10 to drop in the half space, which is between almost between the right back and the centre back, or the left back and the centre back, and then in the midfield as well, just to give that additional option. If you remember back to Unai Emery's days, one of the big problems we had was we couldn't transition the ball from the defence forward, and we were playing out from the back, and we kept getting ourselves in a mess, and we were getting pressed, and there was no way out. And Mesut Ozil's movement into those spaces allows you to get the ball out, and it gives you an additional option. Even if he doesn't always receive the ball, he's taking players away and he's occupying people. I'll go back to that point again. When we went to Stamford Bridge, do you remember Frank Lampard's comments after the game? He said Mesut Ozil was appearing in those spaces and we didn't know how to pick him up. Now, even if he doesn't receive the ball, just doing that gives you an additional option. And for me, Mikel Arteta is trying to use those spaces and provide extra options for his defenders when they're in possession. So I think that he's key in the way we're trying to play at the moment. I don't think he's great anymore. I know that he probably needs to move on and we could save a hell of a lot of money and all that. But when you look at what we currently have in the squad, in my opinion, he'll continue to play. And I think it's the right decision.
I think he is going to continue.
And also, one other thing.
Go on, mate.
Sorry, one other thing, mate. We're all talking about how the game changed against Charlton the other day when he came off. But realistically, did we watch the full game? Did we see how things unfolded? Do we understand necessarily the tactical changes that were made? We don't, because we've all seen a 5-minute highlight clip on Arsenal.com. So we've got to be wary of that as well.
Yeah,
I think it's a great point. I think that is a great point. My understanding of it when he came off was, why did we not just put somebody else into that number 10 role? It proves to me that there is only him playing in that number 10. We've got nobody else to go into it. So I don't see that Arteta is looking at somebody to replace Mesut Ozil when Mesut Ozil goes. I hope and pray that he's going to go for a free in midfield. Richard has a good point here, Mark, and says that we have next to no creativity without Mesut Ozil. We can still play three midfielders behind him. I would argue and say that, that he can be creative on his day, Mesut Ozil, but he had 2 assists in the last season and a half. I wouldn't say that was extremely creative and someone that we could not do without. Would you argue that, Mark, or would you think that we need a Mesut Ozil in our team still?
Well, you could argue this. He gets this new thing, doesn't he? The assist. Do you know what I mean? So
the pre-assist.
The pre-assist. So he's involved in the build-up, the initial moves, and like you say, he's dragging people away, creating space. Is there anybody else in the team with creativity? I mean, Saka. He's got the capability of opening up teams, taking people on, getting into space. Pepe, we'd like to see that more from him. Uber don't need anybody else; he could do it on his own. Ceballos, we want to see him creating more, don't we? But no, let's be honest. Ozil is a World Cup winning, world-class operator, and in the right team, in the right system, on his day, can unlock anything, and that's why he's in the squad. So, what's good to have is options, and so if things are working, we've got Mesut Ozil. I'd much rather have Mesut Ozil than not. If we're not going to replace him, that is. So if you take Mesut Ozil out of our squad, we are weaker.
That's a great point. I think it's a great point that Mark makes here. I think that maybe Arteta's looking at, when we play Mesut Ozil, it is with that, player playing a number 10 role. But when he comes off or we need to change things, we've got a system in place that can play with when he's not playing. I think at sometimes, playing somebody else in there could be a weakness for us. So I think that, say, for instance, we're 1-0 up against City, we can take Mesut Ozil off and play a free in there and shore it up. I think that's what he's looking at. And that's the sort of things I've liked about Mikel Arteta before this lockdown and that, is that there was some sort of game plan, tactical nous of what we was doing. So I'm quite pleased with it, that he's doing that. And, you know, I think the other thing is that he's willing to give the whole squad a chance, not just Mesut Ozil, just everybody else. And I think what's another good point is with Maitland-Niles is that he might have messed up in the past, but he's not totally discarding him. So right, that's it, you're finished. You know what I mean? Yeah, you messed up. Can you come in and redeem yourself? And if he can, then you've got a future. If he doesn't, that's the end of him. Like, so I think it's very, very good managing from Mr. Arteta, if I'll be honest.
Yeah, I have to agree, and I've been really impressed with what he's done so far. Boys, we have got Man City first, and if there is any manager that's going to know how to beat them, or how they play at least, or how to break them down, it will be Mikel Arteta. And let's not forget that Pep Guardiola will not want to lose this game against Mikel Arteta. But at the same time, Mikel Arteta will know what to do against Guardiola, and perhaps Pep Guardiola might not know how Arteta is going to set up, and there'll be more of a misunderstanding from him than there would from Arteta. Harry, I'll come to you first. What do you make of this? Is this a good time to play Man City in these weird circumstances? I'm not sure there's ever a good time to play a great side like them, but what do you make of us going into this game, mate?
Well, going into that game prior to the lockdown, when obviously the game was scheduled to take place, I wasn't like sitting here going, we're going to go there and we're going to beat them. But I was quite optimistic about what the game might bring. If there's one manager in world football who knows the ins and outs of their system, and we know that Pep Guardiola, for all his greatness, is very adamant on playing a certain way. So he's not the type of manager that's going to sit there and chop and change because of Mikel Arteta coming to town. So I took confidence in the fact that Mikel Arteta, as Lee said, has managed games very well, and that Mikel Arteta will have some sort of insight into the way Manchester City play, or know the players inside out. I think the fact that there'll be no crowd, where there pretty much isn't a crowd at the Etihad anyway, so we could take that out of the equation. But jokes aside, it's for me, I think that these circumstances are going to suit the better teams, if you know what I mean, in the sense of the technical teams and the ones that go out there and focus on playing their football. You know, you're not going to go away to places and get overawed by the crowd. So I think we're going to see a lot more tactical now, as Lee says, in the football that we're going to see over the coming weeks. And that's one of the things I am looking forward to about the return of the game, is that we're going to see a different side. We're going to have to focus on the game solely and not everything else that's going on around it. And so I think Arsenal are in good hands under Mikel Arteta, and I'm confident that we're not going to go there and get completely trounced like we have done in recent times.
Well, let's hope so. Before I move on, Man City fan in the building. Ray, thanks for watching, mate. From Ray from City Fan TV. He says City will be using fan images, and I think they'll be piping fan noise through speakers in the PA system. No change there. Lee, we'll come to you because it is going to be a tough game. We know what Man City are like. They're a great side, great footballing side. But there's something that tells me that it's not going to be the thrashing, perhaps, that they would be confident of. This is going to be form out the window for me. There's going to be, we don't know who's fit. We don't know what teams are going to be playing. There's been a bit of a strange break. We don't know who's been keeping fit and who hasn't been keeping fit. This is a bit of a lottery now that football's back, would you not say?
Definitely. The first few games are definitely going to be like that. I think, before the lockdown, I felt going to go up to Man City, I felt that we had a chance. I don't say that we was going to win, but I felt like we had a chance of doing some stuff there. I think that hasn't changed. I still think that we've got a good chance of going and getting something there. I think the thing is with City is that, they can't, in the league, they can't really do much. You know what I mean? It's, they're going to get second. So they've, this moment in time, we still don't know what's going to happen about the European games, and no one's really mentioning them what's going to happen about that. But they've still got the FA Cup as well, Man City, to be involved in. So they want to get involved and win that again, So, and I'm not saying that they're going to not be up for the game against us, but I think that there's more riding on other games for them, So that'd be interesting. I think the one thing that's going to be interesting is that we were talking about this today, funny enough, is that the players normally go up the night before to a hotel and stay in a hotel and everything like that. I'm led to believe, I don't know if this is true, that they're going to have to travel up there on the day and come straight back home, because there's obviously no hotels going to be open. I don't know if they're going to be open by this time, or they're going to open up a hotel for them and all that. So things like that can change. You know, if you've got a 3 or 4 hour journey going up there, and then you've got to go straight and play a game, you know, these are all things that are all going to be different. So from Man City's point, it's going to be different. They've got no home fans, and for us, it's going to be different travelling. You know, so you know that could even it up.
There's nothing new there for City.
No, sorry. Man City fan in the chat. I didn't want to upset him, like, you know what I mean. But no, listen, I'll tell you what. I've been to Man City a few times. It's a bit of a myth. It's a tremendous. There's a good atmosphere at Man City. They're very, very vocal, especially when they're next to the away fans. So
very, very good PA system.
So yeah, it's I've always enjoyed.
They can afford one, can't they?
So you know, it's a tough place to go, and you know, I think there's some interesting, you know, scenarios to see what's going to happen there. I'd like to know what's going to happen about the travel arrangements, because I think that could affect teams. Not so much in England, but like, you know, imagine if you're in Spain and places like that, you've got to fly in and fly out, and Italy and places like that, and then play a game. You know, that travelling does take it out of your legs a little bit. So I think that, you know, could be an interesting point. You know, and I think the first couple of games, I think, are going to be very, very neutral. So when you say, like, you're going to play, man, I'd rather be playing Man City now than in 3 or 4 or 5 games time when they're used to everything. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, you know, so that's how I see it, really. So.
Fair enough. Mark, we've all had a bit of time to get fit and keep fit, and those that were injured are hopefully match fit now. That must be maybe it is a blessing in disguise for a team like Arsenal that I believe have a weak mentality going to places like this. But perhaps with no fans there, we might have a chance of, you know, it not being quite so daunting. They're all looking hopefully a lot sharper and fitter since they've had a nice long break. Who knows, mate? It could be an upset. We could go there and get a win, and then all of a sudden we start to be a little bit more positive towards where we finish in the league. What do you think about it, Mark?
Well, we know from watching the Bundesliga that the home advantage has been wiped out, don't we? So that is a bonus that we're going up there and they haven't got their fans. It is a bonus, you know, to take some pressure off. Like Lee says quite rightly, how much they'll be interested in this competition now, we don't know. Until it's over, I would expect Pep to be asking for 110% from his players until it's mathematically done, which it isn't yet. So yeah, but it's a difficult one, isn't it? You know, but we, like you say, it's best to get going, get it out of the way. If we've got any chance, is to hit them cold. And you know, we come back fairly early. But you touched on the point about injuries and people coming back and stuff like that. I think that's actually been really quite cruel to us, because a few of the teams above us, Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, have really, really benefited from this break. You know, so that has probably killed our top 4 chances. With them squads getting replenished with world-class players. You know, they weren't missing a few fringes, they were missing their leaders. So, and they're back. So that's not been kind to us.
Harry, we talked about fitness, players coming back, competition for places. Listen, we all know Leno's going to be our number 1 goalkeeper, but for me, the fullback position is quite an interesting one, and it's something that Pep Guardiola has kind of based his footballing style on. Is his fullbacks have always been quite threatening and dangerous, and we're actually looking quite healthy in the fullback position on one side, but on the other side, maybe perhaps not so much. Where do you see him going, Arteta, with fullbacks? Is he going to start Kieran Tierney? Is he going to start Bukayo Saka? And do you expect Bellerin or Suarez to be playing on the right-hand side?
It's so hard to say, and it's really difficult to know what he's going to do in terms of his selection, because we don't know at what stage each player is in terms of their fitness, and that's going to play a massive, massive part. I've always said that Mikel Arteta, for me, has kind of accepted that he can't have 2 fullbacks bombing on all the time. I think he's accepted that. And I think what you might see, and we saw, I think, a glimpse of it in that game against Charlton, is you might see that if the right backs are not necessarily as fit as they need to be, you might see Socrates come in there. And people are going to laugh at this. It sounds crazy. It sounds stupid. But the job of the right back in this Mikel Arteta system at the moment is very much to be a little bit more conservative and to drop and support the back two as such. When Arsenal bomb on the left-hand side, whether that's Saka, whether that's Kolasinac, you'll always see the right back be that little bit more restrained. And so I think he would chop and change that depending on the games. I think if he thinks that he's going to push the left back on constantly, particularly at home, then I think you might see a difference in the right back position. And Bellerin can do that role. He can. But I think there was a couple of games before the lockdown where we saw Socrates drafted in at right back a couple of times, or we'd lost the fullback and he just left Socrates there. He was happy to do that. It sounds like a disaster, I know, but in Mikel Arteta's mind, his view is that once the left back pushes on, he wants it to become a back three. And that's why he's more inclined to allow a centre back, whether it's Mustafi or Socrates, to occupy that position with the view to them tucking in. I don't agree with it personally. It's not what I would do. But I think there's been signs that he's open to that.
Listen, I think it's a great shout. I think he's really knowledgeable there, Harry, in terms of the right back with Socrates as well, because that was definitely happening over the last few games before it went. Mr. Craig Scott is back in the house. Hello, Craig. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you listening to us. We miss you, mate. We miss you indeed. Lee Judges, let's come and talk about some of the defence, because Harry mentioned your friend there, Socrates. We've obviously got David Luiz, who we'll come on to in a little while. Mustafi, Pablo Mari, who's we've only seen a few times. What are you expecting from this defending then, Lee? Because Arteta made us harder to beat, which is true, but some of these players just aren't quite good enough. Against Man City, do we accept that our clean sheet is going to be very difficult? And who would you go with as a centre-half pairing, mate? A
clean sheet's going to be very hard against Norwich, Oxford and whoever they play. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. They're not good enough. I've got to be honest. The jury is out, pardon the pun, on Mara at the moment. But what I've seen of him so far, he looked like he was doing well. You know what I mean? So I think that Craig's having a little dig at me on the comments.
I see this, yeah.
Totally out of order, like, you know what I mean? So,
and a shave, I think he said as well.
I ain't heard from him for months, and he comes on here taking the old winkle out of me, like, out of order.
Some things never change.
Game skills, do I? Like, no, I'm very complimentary about his DJing skills. Totally out of order, Mr. Scott. So, I think I've got to continue. I think he should play in there. Socrates at right back. He should be helping Harry with his kebabs on a Sunday. That's what
the only help Harry needs with his kebabs is eating them. Have you seen them?
Or he could be.
Whoa, hold on. Let me just have it on record, yeah. People from Greece, yeah, they can't make kebabs like people from Cyprus. Let's have that on record.
Oh, here we go.
Serving the drinks, you know what I mean?
There's going to be a riot outside tomorrow now with this. Oh, God.
So right back. I don't know. What's happened to the
Cedric Suarez?
What's happened to Suarez? Where is he? You know what I mean?
No idea.
Surely now we are in June. We signed him in January. Surely he's fit. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for this virus, the season would be over, and we signed him and he never had a game for us. Michael,
we're saving him for the cup final, Lee. Like Kim Kardashian all over again, isn't it?
They come on in the semi-final and take a penalty, and we go,
that's it. You know the script. You know the script, Lee.
Seriously, is he not fit now?
I don't think he is. He didn't have any. He was the only player that had no dealings on the friendly against Charlton. He was the only player.
He was. So there was a picture of him in training the other day, though, wearing a mask, not it was like a coronavirus type protection mask. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it? What is he? He's not a beekeeper, is he?
I don't know. He looked like a superhero. It was like this really cool mask. I'll find the picture somewhere.
Yeah, no, I saw it as well.
He's in training.
He is in training, but Lee makes a great point because we've signed this guy for £5 million when his contract is now pretty much up at Southampton. We could have had him on a free, right? We could have just had the guy on a free. It's a waste of money again. It's our recruitment team getting things absolutely wrong again.
I honestly think there's a few, a few little backhanders going here, like a bit of laundry money coming through here, like, you know what I mean? It's because why have we signed him? It's ridiculous. He should be playing. He should be playing right back for these games, and if he was injured for this long, when did we sign him? In January, and he was injured in January. This is right. So we're now in June. So it's 5 months at least since he's been in. What? How did he pass the medical? Did he bung him some money?
Great point. It's a great point.
That was just
medical. You know what I mean?
Is it the same injury, though, Lee? Is it the same injury, or has something else happened?
Well, that's the same injury, I think.
Well, they're saying in
Ainsley Maitland-Niles kick.
They're saying in the chat that he's broke his nose, but it don't take 5 months to recover from a broken nose, does it?
John Serry's out there the next week. You know what I mean? Like a proper defender.
Most people wouldn't even come off the pitch.
He's got 88 stitches. He's played next week. You know what I mean? He had 5 months out. Come on.
Crazy.
I see Mark Wright playing for England the other day on that Harry's Hero thing. His eye was split right across the side of his face, and they just pudsied him back up and put him on.
Ridiculous. Right. It's absolutely ridiculous that he's not playing. So we've now got Socrates playing right back. After we signed the right back in January, now we're in June and still not playing. So we go to a waiter that shouldn't be even playing. Like, I mean, my opinion, unbelievable. I tell you what, it don't like that. He'll make a tackle, go like that, and then realise there's no bloody fans there. And he like, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, he ain't going to be no bloody good for us. So I don't know. The only good thing is we've got Kieran Tierney coming back. That's a good sign.
Yeah, I was going to say that is my big positive. To be honest with you, I must admit.
Into another place, another position. That's the only thing that's very, very positive out. And you never know; he might be able to play right back. You never know.
I was just going to say, can he play right back?
Yeah, you can ask him.
Well, he did play right back a few times for Celtic, so it may be that he plays Tierney at right back and Saka at left, but I suspect he will play Tierney at left back, Bellerin at right back, and I think he'll go with Pablo Mari and David Luiz as the two centre-halves against Man City. That's what I think he'll go with now, a right-sided and left-sided natural defender, so I think that's what he's going to be looking at personally, and for me, David Luiz is better than the clowns of Mustafi and Socrates, without a doubt. So, go on, Lee.
Do you need to call it?
I've got to say, Nigel's not doing his job. He's not doing his job in the chat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not having that. Nigel, you're not doing it. Right? We don't pay you £4.50 for things like that. Sort yourself out. Come on here, pay him and then get abused, Stuart.
Well played, Stuart Woods. We like a bit of banter on here.
Dan, what do you? Dan, what are you talking about, David Luiz? Dan, what do you make of his contract situation? Now, did he sign a 2-year deal? Has he got a 1-year deal? Because his agent come on the news the other day saying that he'd only signed a 1-year deal. And that it was due to be triggered for the 2nd year, but that's when the corona all hit and stuff like that. So they didn't sit down and talk to him. And so, yeah, he is leaving at the end of the season.
I mean, for me, the way I see it is this. The recruitment have totally and utterly got this whole signing wrong. We were told this was a really good signing right at the start. For me, I think it is a horrendous signing. The cost of it all, apparently, the 8 million plus the wages, plus everything else that comes with it, has cost to a total of just over 20 million for David Luiz. The guy's not even managed a full season. I know that's not his fault because of the pandemic, but we're looking at the situation now as somebody who is going to be leaving in the summer, and we have spent all that money on it. Our recruitment, for me, have got it totally and utterly wrong. The guy is still a liability. The guy has been better under Arteta, but he is not good enough for Arsenal, in my opinion. If you want top 6 or you want top 8, that's fine. Stay with David Luiz. But for me, I want to be pushing for top 4. What's going on, Lee? What are you not happy about now?
No, it's just, I'm getting abused. It's all like, I mean? I'll tell you what, right? I was just going to say, look at him laughing there. He's one of the world's worst. It's not only there; it's in the private chat. It's going,
Yeah. Listen, this is a myth. This is a myth. This is a myth that I pick on you. I love you. You know that.
I've had people message me, right? Honestly, this is I don't know if I like that, Mark. He's always picking on you. Does he not like him? I'll tell you, I've got to feed him to the lions. I am at one stage, you know.
Harry, what do you make of it?
You know, it's a good thing. Like the defence is getting better under Arteta. It rhymes. That does. Well done, Dan. It's very good. Like.
Do you like that, mate?
You should get that printed. You should get that T-shirt done.
Yeah, you could get that. Yeah, we could do such things like that.
We can sell some of them. Sell some of them on here.
Yeah.
Harry, what did you make of the David Luiz thing, man? If this is true about it being 20 odd million, this has been a poor signing, hasn't it?
Well, I was surprised to hear about this 1 year thing because I think we all agree that when it first broke that he was signing for Arsenal, every media outlet, and I've gone back and checked this, all of them reported that it was a 2 year deal, except for Arsenal.com. They never specified the term of the deal. I had a look at their thing as well. So I was surprised to hear that it was just a 1 year deal and all of this stuff come out. The 20 million thing, look, he's going to take a big salary. There's no doubt about that. A player of his experience was never going to come in for a chump change. The transfer fee, £8 million, isn't that big of a deal. The thing that bumps it up is the fee that went to the agent, which is apparently around about £6 or £7 million. The thing is here that I get the impression that it feels like during the lockdown, people were looking to sensationalize a story because every transfer deal has an intermediary involved. Every intermediary gets paid handsomely to do the deals. That's just the way it is. That's the way of modern football. So I'm sure if we look back, we'll find other deals that we thought were bad, where an agent's picked up 4 or 5 million quid and this and that. It feels to me like they were just, look, it ain't been a great signing because he ain't been a great defender. It's as simple as that. But are we going to be able to? We were desperate at that point. You've got to remember that as well. Laurent Koscielny had just decided that he was going to walk out the way he did, throw his toys out of the pram. We don't know what went on behind the scenes there, but he was gone. We needed a centre-half. The season was about to start, and David Luiz became available. So it was a panic buy. Do I think we paid over the odds for him? Yeah, probably. Do I think that they had to pay the agent to make it get over the line within the allotted timescale? Yeah, I do. I think the agent probably had a big part to play in it. But like I said, there'll be so many transfers and bad deals that Arsenal have done over the years where agents have received way too much money. So I think to pick on this one now, it feels like it's just because we were in lockdown and there was nothing really else to talk about. Ain't been a great signing, never will be a great signing, but it was plugging a hole at a time when we were desperate. So I wouldn't waste too much time sitting there stressing about the ins and outs of what cost what, because for me it's just modern football.
Lee, we've got William Saliba in coming next season. I don't know if, or maybe you can correct me if he can play for this coming games when it starts up again, but I believe it is for next season. So that's one defender we have got coming in. We've got Alden and Chambers, who some say are still young and potential. For me, I don't think they're going to make it at Arsenal at 20, 22 and 23, whoever they are now. So defence is still an issue for us. We know that. But moving into the midfield is interesting for me because we've still got Granit Xhaka and Lucas Torreira. We've still got Guendouzi, Willock and Ceballos. And we've still got Mesut Ozil. What's our best midfield three, Lee? What is our best? Because it's a hard question, isn't it?
That is a real tough question. Like, you know what I mean?
But why I say it is because we should know, shouldn't we? Over the years, we should know, well, they're the three in midfield, but nobody still does. It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's frustrating. You know, you go back to all of our championship winning sides, there was a midfield partnership of quality. You know, you go back to the 89, you had Richardson Davis in there with Mickey Thomas. There was, David Rocastle come into the middle if things were going there. You look back then at the 2002, the 98 team, Vieira and Petit. You go then Vieira, Edu and Gilberto. It goes on. And then you've got now when it's a mismatch. You know, if I'll be honest, none of them are any good. None of them are any good enough to win us a championship. None of them are good enough to get us into the top four. They've all got weaknesses, and that's the best view you've had, Mark. That's great. That one, like, that view. That's the one, like that. So, but like I think that you've got Torreira as I feel that we should probably like cashing him at the end of the season, but I think that him and Xhaka is probably the best sort of part two as a partnership. Ceballos was doing okay when he come in there, but then that means you've got to leave out Ozil. So I think like for me, Xhaka, Ceballos, and Torreira would be the three that I would go in there. But like you know, and with Ceballos, maybe taking him in and out with Ozil at times, that would be how I'd do it. But none of them are. You know, we don't create enough goals.
We need three new ones, don't we? That's my point. We need three new midfielders. You know,
if we could sell them, like, you know, Xhaka and Torreira, and get Partey in, that would be a great bit of business for me in the summer. I would be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, and listen, there's a lot of rumours about us agreeing personal terms. I don't know what to believe with Thomas Partey, but for me, that would be a really good signing. I'm going to rock it a bit. I know Harry's going to totally disagree with this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I wouldn't have Granit Xhaka and Mesut Ozil in the side. Personally, I've seen enough of them for the last 4, 5, 6 years, and I've realised that they're not good enough for the team. So I'd start with something fresh. And at the moment, I think if I had the chance, I would probably look to play Danny Ceballos in there for his energy and his technique and a little bit of his creativity. And then I'd probably look alongside him to play with Lucas Torreira for his bite and his tenacity. And then I'd go with Matteo Guendouzi because of his passion and his drive and some of the energy that he gives and the fact that he just gives a damn and he gives it all in midfield. So they're the three that I'd go with. Harry, come back at me because I know you're going to totally disagree with that.
Well, I agree with you all that they're not good enough and that we need to improve in those areas. I don't think there's any question about that. But based on what we have at our disposal at the moment, if I had to stick with 1-3 that I'm going to play every week, it's Xhaka, Torreira, and then Ozil. And the reason I say that, Xhaka and Torreira for me, even under Unai Emery, who I absolutely hated, you all know that.
Really?
Did you?
Yeah. We had a bit of balance there. We had a little bit of balance there, and we'll have even more balance now that Mikel Arteta's in charge because of the role that he's asking Granit Xhaka to do, which is a little bit different. He's filling in different holes. Lucas Torreira is coming more central. That thing I was talking about, the fullback being a little bit more conservative, is also helping in that sense. So I think under Mikel Arteta, I think based on what we got, those are the best three. There's a strong case for Danny Ceballos, I think, because he was starting to show glimpses of what he can do as well. And what he did to impress me was that he showed that he's got a tenacious side to his game, which I didn't really think he had coming in. So, you know, there's that as well. But if you're asking me that I have to stick on 3 that I'm going to play every single week, then that's my 3.
Fair enough. Mark, when we went to the Emirates a few times, we saw Arteta start with Xhaka as the holding midfielder, with Ceballos next to him, and then Mesut Ozil in the number 10 role. I think that's the 3 that he's going to go for against Manchester City, if they're all fit, that is. What do you make of it, and what would your 3 in midfield be?
No, that's the 3 he goes for when he knows a team's going to come and park the bus. That's 2 creative midfielders and 1 holding. If we're going to go away to Man City, we're going to need 2 holding and 1 creative. So, yeah, I'm with Harry. We start against City with Torreira, Xhaka, and Ozil.
Fair enough.
That's not the future. That is not the future of Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, I agree.
That is the best we have right now.
I think we all agree that we need to shift them, but
exactly.
Yeah.
But you can't just shift people for the sake of shifting them. You can only shift them when you have got somebody through the door who is better. So, you know, it's down to Guendouzi and Ceballos, who's not our player, by the way. He's just getting match sharp with us and learning his trade in this country. He's a Real Madrid player, so I shouldn't waste too much time on him if there's indications there that he's not going to stay, which they will know by now. You know, whether or not there's a deal to be done there, and if there is a sniffing of a deal to be done there, then yes, include him in the team. If there's not, play Willock. Because we're wasting our time, you know, getting a lad ready for somebody else, you know. So that's my thoughts on it, you know. But you know, yes, Xhaka's got to go, but when Partey comes. Yes, Torreira. If Torreira was 6'4", he'd be the best holding midfielder in the world. But he's not. But then there's an argument to say he doesn't need to be. Kante's not. But so I don't know. I think Torreira's been unfortunate. Really, he hasn't really got the guy next to him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But I think
I like Torreira, but. I like Torreira. Maybe next to Partey he'd look a bit better, but next to Granit Xhaka, I don't think anyone looks that great personally. So there we go. Moving on, Lee. We got Saka, we got Martinelli, we got Lacazette, we got Aubameyang, and we got Pepe. That's pretty good, isn't it? Looking moving forward for Arsenal.
That's good. Be very, very interesting to see where Saka does play, because I thought he was playing really well at left back. But if Tierney's fit, then and also your mate's back as well, the tank. He's fit as well. So there is options there at left back now. So that could push Saka into another role. But for me, it'd be interesting to see what he's going to do. I do feel that he's going to go with Aubameyang out wide again. It does look like that, and maybe Eddie getting a shout. But for me, on the left hand side, I would love to see Martinelli play these last 10 games now. Or is it 9, 10 games? I would like to see him be given the opportunity, mainly to give him some more game time for going on to next season. I really do. But for me, the front three for me would be Martinelli, Aubameyang, and Pepe. That's the three that I will go with. I think that's got everything that you need. It's got goals in it, it's got youth, and it's got the trickery of Pepe. And then you've got the others to come on. You've got Lacazette, Eddie to come on, and also Reece Nielsen to come on as well. You know what I mean? So we've got some backup there, but that's the three that I will go with.
Yeah, I think it's a great front three, and I would agree with that. Harry, will come to you. I'm going to go with Aubameyang down the centre, with Pepe right and Martinelli left, and that's really harsh on Bukayo Saka, I would say. But I believe Tierney will probably be playing at left back because he is a left back. But it's great squad depth, and that is a position, should I say, front three wise going forward, that I think we are strongest and don't really have any worries in. What would you go with as your front three, Harry? Would you agree with me and Lee?
I'm going to go, obviously Aubameyang's in there, but I'm going to leave him on the left. And the reason I say that is because having done a bit of work and stuff and studying sort of the way Mikel Arteta's teams, what he wants to play, I'm basing it largely on what Pep Guardiola does. Playing in that left role, that inside position where you can drift into that half space in between the two defenders, giving them an issue with marking, I think is allowing Aubameyang to get more goals. I think the centre forward's often going to find himself occupied by two centre halves. He's going to have to play with his back to goal at times. So I'll keep Aubameyang on the left for the time being. I'll probably go with Lacazette through the middle. And for now, it would be Pepe on the right, but that's with the caveat of Saka, Nelson if he picks up his form, and of course Martinelli. They're all knocking on the door as well, so it's a lovely position to be in terms of the front line, because there's so much competition there now.
Before we kind of start to wrap up, Mark, what are you expecting from Arsenal under Arteta for these remaining games, and where do you think that we should be realistically looking to push for, mate?
Well, we're going to try and. I think he's just got to, touching on what you just said there. He's just got to play that best team. What Harry's saying, that Laka, Uber, and Pepe, and I think that's what he's going to do. He's just going to put the boys in. That is the best available players he's got for next season. This is almost like a mini pre-season, isn't it, for us?
I think so. Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to get Champions League. There's a possibility. Of course, I hope we do. Realistically, I can't see that. So we just want some good vibes, some good energy, some good performance. We've got to start seeing some commitment from the players and people to put their name on the shirt and say that, I want to play for this club and I want to be a part of this project. And so I think he just picks those front three, the big guns, and says, I want you in my plans. Do you want to be in my plans? And then if at the end of it it's a no, then we've put them in the shop window and we can get some funds and stuff like that,
Spot on. Spot on, mate. And I'm totally with you there. And for me, listen, I said to people before, I've tapped out. The season's done for me. I know that we're carrying it on now and we're all got to get positive and try and get excited about it. I'm personally not. I'm not going to be able to go to the game, so I'm not going to get as excited. For me, Arteta gets a free run, whether we come 17th or we come 4th. To me, it's an experiment to see who wants to be playing the Arteta way and who doesn't want to be playing the Arteta way. Lee, where do you reckon that we're going to be finishing realistically this season, mate? What's your prediction?
6. I can't see us getting anywhere close to that. We've got to win every single game to even stand a chance of being in the top 4. Simple as that, though. And I don't think that we're going to win every single game, if I'll be honest. I don't think we've got the capability to do it. And I think that the 4 teams that are in there at the moment will be the 4. I think that if anybody will sneak it, it will probably be Man United over Chelsea. But the other 3 are virtually over the hill, aren't they? 2 definitely are, and Leicester on the top of the hill. But I just think that we give ourselves too much to do. I think 6 would be for me. It's about getting above them down the road now. Like, make sure we get above them, and that's all what I think I'm focusing on.
Fair enough, Harry. What do you reckon for our prediction this season, man? What you looking at realistically?
Yeah, I think about 6th sounds about right. I'd take that at this point. It's for me, like I know you say the season's sort of a write-off for you and you've tapped out a little bit. For me, I'm more interested to see how the team continues to develop now under this new manager rather than being that fussed about where we finish in terms of results. If we see an improvement in performances and we miss out by a point or something, I'll be disappointed, but I'm not going to be gutted, because for me, this is, I guess, the situation and the break in football and the fact that games are going to be played behind closed doors and it's not the same and all that has kind of taken a bit of pressure off of Mikel Arteta, in my opinion. And now he can just focus on the football without the distraction of the idiots at the Emirates groaning and moaning every time a pass gets misplaced. Just focus on the football. All I want to see is the team improve. That's all I'm interested in at the moment. And we go again next season.
Good point. My prediction, listen, I think the top 4 is going to be Man United 4th. I think Man United are going to win the majority of their games going back into it. Bruno Fernandes completely changed their team. Looks so much better than Chelsea now. So for me, they're going to get 4th. Chelsea will come 5th. I think it's going to be between Spurs or Wolves that get 6th, personally. I'm going to go with 8th. For Arsenal, a little bit pessimistic, but I think it's realistic. I don't think we're going to win many of the games that we have left. I think we're going to struggle against Wolves, Southampton, Leicester, Spurs, City, Liverpool. That's all 6 games. We've only got 3, I think, left, haven't we? So for me, that's going to be a real struggle. So I can't see us getting 4th, 5th or 6th. I think it's going to be 7th or 8th for Arsenal at a push. FA Cup, let's hope we can do something there. I personally don't feel like it's going to be a win for FA Cup, but we shall see.
Come on, Dan.
Realistic, mate. Realistic, mate.
It's our cup. It's our cup.
If you think we're going to win the FA Cup, I hope we do, boys. But the teams that are in it at the moment, I think it's going to be a struggle for us. That's for sure. Mark, what about yourself, mate?
We're going to win the cup. We're going to beat Spurs, and we're going to start by getting a cracking 1-1 draw up at Man City in 10 days' time. It's going to be real positive, and we're going to push for it. But we're not going to make it. But what we are is we're going to convince a few of these bods that this is a project they want to be a part of, and we're going to see Uber buy into it, sign a new contract. We're going to see a few other bods from outside thinking, you know what, I want in on a part of that. And also, we're going to be able to convince some of these lads that are dead rubbers that, there's no future for them at the club and they're going to move on. Because, a big rumours about Bellerin going, fine, let him go. Let the money come back in and we can reinvest, so... Yeah, we're going to go for it.
I think it's a great shout. Before we wrap up, happy birthday to Karen Russell. Tomorrow, lockdown birthday. Karen, a regular listener. Happy birthday, Karen.
Happy birthday, Karen. Happy birthday,
Karen.
Have a lovely day.
I hope you do have a lovely day.
I had a lockdown birthday. They can be fun. They can be fun, It's what you make them.
Well, I don't know if it'd be fun if it's Dan's birthday. Jesus Christ, I'd put him on Suicide Watch. Do you know what I mean?
Man, I am a realistic.
You go, bid. Make sure you're all right after that. Like assessment of the Arsenal. So, but I'm a bit about it.
Do you know what it is, though, Rob? Boys, it is pessimistic, but for me,
it's realistic. It's that chair.
For me, it's really.
In that chair, always turns out it's Arsenal. Yeah.
Man, I'm saying how it is. I don't see anything positive in this team apart from a few youngsters coming through, and that for me, I just see weak mentality. And don't be excited about this team getting in Europe or top 4. It ain't gonna happen. All right, you heard it here first. We are gonna finish about where we are now, where we deserve to be. Yeah, that is where we deserve to be. And if we're out of Europe, fine by me. We start again under Arteta with a new young prospects coming through, and let's see if we can get some players in to try and get a new, different Arsenal instead of the old weak mentality that I see in the Granit Xhakas and Mesut Ozils and Kolasinaks of this world. That's the way that I see it.
FA Cup safely tucked under arm. We'll go into the new season.
Let's hope so, man.
Karen, that's all I can say to that. Like, I hope you have a lovely day.
I hope you do have a lovely day. I hope you do have a lovely day indeed. Boys, before we go, just want to touch on everything that's happening at the moment in this what is a crazy world. And I don't want to end on too much of a negative, but I just want to send a positive message out there to what's happening at the moment, because we've got the pandemic, we've got obviously the riots and the looting and the violence that's happening in not just London, but Manchester, Liverpool and Cardiff. And I just want to send a message out there from everyone here to say, please keep safe. It doesn't matter what kind of you're into at the moment. This isn't a political debate. It's just a message to say that we need to be pulling together at a time like this and not fighting against each other. And I just want to make that message clear. For me, it doesn't really have anything to do with protests, riots, pandemics at the moment. At a time when 3 months ago we were all told to be kind to each other, let's now please be kind to each other. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are a community that needs to be pulling together at a time like this. And I've never seen people so divided at this time. No matter what your political belief is, or your religion, or your race, or your opinion in life, please let's just be kind to each other. Because 3 years ago, police officers were all called heroes for what happened at Westminster Bridge. And 3 years later, around this time, they're the scum of the earth to some people. Let's all be kind and pull together as a community. Boys, just wanted to get your thoughts on what's happening at the moment. Lee, I'll start with you.
Well, it's unbelievable. Like, it's just happening up the road at Oddiston today, and it's not good to see, that the people are protesting. I don't mind people protesting if it's peaceful and all that, but there's racism on both sides. I've seen it today, just walking past it all. And I just think it's, this is the time where everybody's got to get together and look after each other. It's as simple as that. And I think we was doing that for the, do you know what, in this lockdown, if you ever went out, whether you went for a walk or anything like that, everybody was saying hello to each other and being nice and kind to each other and moving to the side and everything like that. And over a couple of days, it's changed. And I don't like to see what I've seen today, in the street, on the streets near me. I don't like to see it, people guarding memorials and, and people protesting. And it's just not. It's not right, and I just want everybody to be safe and start loving each other again, And I think over the last few days that's sort of gone out, and let's get that back together, and let's all be one.
Yeah, well said, Lee. Harry, a couple of words from yourself, mate, about what's going on at the moment.
Well, it all stemmed, didn't it, from that horrible incident that happened in the States, where the policeman was bang out of order. And I think people have got absolutely every right to be pissed off about that and the way that it's treated. And, this might be controversial, but I think there's been a problem with that sort of thing in America in particular for years and years and years. And it does need to be dealt with, and awareness does need to be raised, and people have every right to protest and say what they want to say. But if you're crossing a line and you're going and harming people that have got nothing to do with it, you're not benefiting anyone. You're just turning those people that are doubting you against you as well. And everyone needs to pull together. And believe me, I think you'll be very hard pushed to find someone that doesn't agree with those events being absolutely bang out of order. It's down to the authorities to deal with it and make sure they deal with it right. And people, if you're going to protest, by all means, you've got every right because you've got a point. But the unnecessary shit that comes with it, like people smashing up people's shops, that ain't going to do nothing. That's got nothing to do with the issue at hand. So let's tackle the issue at hand instead of using it as an opportunity in some cases to get away with other things, because that's not what this is about. This is about getting justice for what happened and eradicating racism. And unless everyone's on the same page and not arguing about stupid stuff and going around damaging other people's property and God knows what else, then we're never going to be on the same page and we're never going to sort it out.
Well said, Harry. I totally agree with you, mate. Every word. And finally, Mark, anything else you want to say, mate, on what's happening?
No, just, I just urge people at this time to find some sort of unity and go out, take a listen. One of my favourite songs of all time is War by Bob Marley. And I actually learned something about that song today, that it was largely based on a speech by Haile Selassie, who's an Ethiopian emperor, looked upon by the Rastafarian community as a bit of a god. Just go out, just take a listen to that song, sit down, listen to the words, be kind. That's it.
Well played, guys. Thank you all for that. We've come to an end. Thank you to everyone in the chat. It was over 160 of you listening at one stage. That's fantastic for one of the first shows we've had back. Thank you all very much. Another happy birthday to Karen tomorrow. And thank you very much for everyone here. Mark, it's been a pleasure. Great to have you back, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome anytime, mate. You know that. Harry, again, thank you, mate, for tonight.
Cheers, mate. Good speaking to you all again.
Absolutely, mate. I hope you get your work done for the evening. You managed to get some sleep tonight.
I'm
mate.
Done now. I'm good.
Good man, good man.
Probably going out to start a barbecue, Dan.
Yeah, that's it. Go and have a barbecue now, mate. You're done. You deserve it. And finally, Lee Judges. Thank you, mate.
No, been a pleasure. Good to talk with everybody. Lovely to be back and sharing the platform with you guys. So I really enjoyed it. Thanks, sir.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. And guys, we'll be back next week. Hopefully we're going to be back for Monday night, and we got another quiz coming in a couple of weeks. I think Harry's going to put some questions together so that I can try and defend my crown against Lee and Richard and the other guys. So look forward to promoting that, and keep up on Twitter with us. Please come and follow us all on Twitter, and please follow at Same Old AFC in capitals. And until then, we will see you next Monday, same time. Up the Arsenal.
Down you Gunners.
Up the Arsenal.